Welcome back. I'm Tiffany Meyer. The Trump administration today unveiled its AI action plan, a package of initiatives and policy recommendations meant to cement the U.S. as a global leader in artificial intelligence. Joining us now to discuss is Jessica Melugin. She's the director of the Center for Technology and Innovation at the Competitive Enterprise Institute. Jessica, thank you so much for joining us. Great to have you. First, what's your reaction to this AI action plan, especially the more hands-off approach from the government or bureaucratic guardrails here?
I think initially I kind of can't believe how far we've come in just a couple years. Under the Biden administration, the artificial intelligence executive order that came out was very much all about how to regulate it. It was sort of fear based, and it really didn't talk about how to promote the technology or what all the possible benefits would be. And with today's order, we see sort of these three pillars that the administration is looking towards. One is, in fact, to promote artificial intelligence, both in the private sector and for government use. Then we see the administration trying to address the energy needs that AI will need to power all of this innovation. And then thirdly, they're trying to chart a path about making American AI the global choice. A lot of tech leaders point out that in not too long from now, the whole world will either be running on US artificial intelligence or Chinese artificial intelligence. And I think this administration is very determined to make sure it's on US artificial intelligence.
I want to get to the global aspects, but first, in terms of energy, the 28-page action plan notes, quote, American energy capacity has stagnated since the 1970s, while China has rapidly built out their grid. America's path to AI dominance depends on changing this troubling trend. Given how much energy AI needs, how do you see the U.S. tackling AI's energy consumption question?
Well, I think the report does go into some specifics around that, and that will mean expedited approval for things like new data centers and stepping around some of the environmental laws that have slowed energy projects down. But I think the larger picture here is that America is ready, I think, more generally to be pro energy. I think all the energy options are now on the table, whether that's the big tech companies who are interested in investing in nuclear options and, of course, continued interest in the renewables. But also, this administration has been very supportive of the oil and gas industry here in the U.S. And I think all of those things come together, again, in concert with the removal of a lot of red tape in terms of getting these projects up and running. And that's the plan we see here, because energy is going to just be key to all this AI. It takes a ton of power to run this stuff. And we probably can't even imagine how much as it goes forward.
Now, on that global scale, there's a big focus on China here. That's part of the argument for cutting the red tape to ensure America beats China in the AI race, given the concerns of communist-controlled AI dominating the world. Talk to us about the national security implications of this AI race.
So I think it's really important that the U.S. lead the way with this technology. In terms of military superiority, in terms of economic growth and prominence, but also, just about embedding our democratic free speech values into what so many other countries around the world are going to adopt. It's really a great hedge for America to be the technology that all these other countries are using. We want those free speech values, those freedoms, both private property, economic, personal, religious. We want to promote that ideology around the world. And I think that the AI space is an opportunity to do that.
And on the flip side, what would the world look like if China beats the U.S. in the AI race? What would be the consequences of that?
I shudder to even think about it, but I think that we wouldn't be able to have the confidence that we would on AI products, that we're free to say what we want to say, to practice the religions that we want to do what we want to do. We'd be much more concerned about the inputs that were going into those models and the answers we were getting back out of them on the user end. And I really don't think, if given the chance, most of the world is interested in that kind of speech being controlled in Beijing. I think that much better to open this up for everyone to use as they see fit. And I think that's much more the U.S. model.
Now, another element here was the tackling ideologically biased or woke AI. What do you make of that? Who would be in charge of that? How would it be tackled?
Yeah, it was really vague in the order, and I think there's a reason for that. It's really unclear. That's a great ideal. I think we all understand wanting to aim for unbiased and objective approaches to all of this, and I think we'll probably see most of that. But when you get into kind of who decides what's biased and what's not, it's a very subjective question, and I think it'll sort of prove impossible for these companies to certify that their AI isn't woke or whatever. I think that it's good to sort of clear out a lot of that politicized language from this stuff, and I commend the administration for getting rid of some of that stuff that was associated with the Biden EO. But I think going forward, better to just sort of leave it open for each individual product and company to kind of bump snouts in the marketplace, so to speak, and people can sort out which products they trust and which products they align with. I'm not sure that a top-down government ban on bias. I mean, again, it's just a subjective thing. I think it would be very difficult to write into the letter of the law.
Big changes here for sure. Jessica Melugin, as always, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.